So just to be clear, the Israeli government is preventing Christians from celebrating Easter in Jerusalem?
Yes, they are preventing Christians and pilgrims from celebrating Easter, and the claim is, according to the police there, for safety reasons.
We cannot criticize Israel, as you know.
If you are a Tucker Carlson fan, you need to see this video. And if you're not a Tucker Carlson fan, you also need to see this video.
How are Christians in the Holy Land doing? Are they thriving or are they suffering? And the truth has become pretty obvious over the past couple of years, which is in Israel, they are not thriving. Their numbers are not growing, they are shrinking. And there's a huge debate about why, but the bottom line is there are fewer Christians now, far fewer, in absolute numbers and particularly as percentage of population than there were when the state was founded in 1948.
Now let's talk about numbers. Notice something important. Tucker doesn't provide any, not a single one. Because the moment you look at the data, his entire argument collapses. In 1948, there were about 35,000 Christians living in Israel. Today, there are around 190,000. That's a 5-fold increase. There is not a single Muslim country in the Middle East where the Christian population has grown like this. Not one. In Lebanon, once a Christian majority country with around 60% Christians, the number dropped to roughly 30%. In Syria, the Christian population collapsed. In Iraq, where millions of Christians lived 70 years ago, today there may be around 200,000 left. But sure, tell us more about how Israel is a problem. Next slide. Israel receives US aid, and about 80% of it goes straight back into the American economy through the purchase of American weapons. By the way, the US gives Egypt and Jordan more money combined than it gives Israel, and much of this is civilian aid that never returns to the American economy. But Tucker will never tell you that part. Now, look at how he introduces one of his guests.
And the second person we're going to speak to is a businessman who runs a bank here in Jordan from a very prominent Christian family. And if you're an American, you may be surprised to learn that in Jordan, a country that's probably 97% Muslim, Christians who've been here for, of course, 2,000 years are disproportionately represented at the higher end of the economy, which is to say there's a large number of Christian families who are hugely successful in Jordan.
So what's the message here? Israel persecutes Christians, but Jordan, a Muslim country, somehow allows Christians to thrive and succeed. Interesting framing. Let's see if this survives 5 minutes of scrutiny. We will start with the first speaker, the Anglican Archbishop of Jerusalem.
But to see the declining numbers of Christians over the decades, and especially since 48 and 67.
I love this argument. Before the State of Israel existed, Christians supposedly lived in paradise. Everything was wonderful under Islamic rule, until the Jews showed up and ruined it. There is just one tiny detail the Archbishop forgot to mention. Actually 3. One generation before Israel was established under Islamic rule, there were 3 genocides against Christians: the Armenian genocide, the Assyrian genocide, and the Greek genocide. You probably never heard about them. That's not an accident. You can't blame Jews for those, so they don't fit the narrative. Don't believe me? Seriously, check every word. As for 1948, the Arab leadership rejected any compromise, rejected a Jewish state under any conditions, and chose war. Fighting broke out in cities and on roads. Some Arab Christians, generally wealthier and more mobile, left. Framing 1948 as an anti-Christian event is not history, it's blood libel. So what is his strongest example of Christian persecution in Israel? Let's listen.
Let me give you an example where, like the Holy Sepulchre, for different reasons, we, for a long time, during Holy Saturday, which is the Holy Fire, one of the most sacred days in the Christian calendar.
Yes.
Of course, this is the night before Easter.
Yes.
The restrictions that the police there enforce on pilgrims is unprecedented. Something that, we always please, let the pilgrims come and enjoy.
Now this is happening?
And this is happening every year now, yes, of course. Last year.
So just to be clear, the Israeli government is preventing Christians from celebrating Easter in Jerusalem?
Yes, they are preventing Christians and pilgrims from celebrating Easter, and the claim is, according to the police there, for safety reasons.
So this is it. The worst persecution of Christians in Israel is crowd control restrictions at one of the most dangerous religious ceremonies on earth. And to his credit, the Archbishop accidentally tells the truth. Israel restricts the numbers for safety reasons. Let me explain. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre has one entrance. On a regular day, it's already hard to breathe inside. During the Holy Fire ceremony on Easter, hundreds of people packed in, holding lit candles while fire is passed around. If something goes wrong, hundreds of Christians could die from fire and suffocation. Israel loses either way. Limit attendance, Israel persecutes Christians. Don't limit it, and if people die, Israel is blamed anyway. In 2021, at a Jewish pilgrimage site in Meron, 45 Jews were crushed to death because safety rules failed. So yes, at dangerous mass events, there are rules. This is not persecution. This is basic responsibility. Now comes a real blood libel.
On two incidents, there've been two big explosions. The first one happened only 2 weeks after or even less than 2 weeks from the beginning, on the 17th of October 2003, where a huge rocket fell, and it became a really controversy. Israel accused Islamic Jihad for a misrocketed missile. In Gaza they said no, it was Israeli rocket that came in, and there were two narratives at that time. Anyway, but this is the kind of thing that we
know the answer now?
No, I don't know the answer. People ask me, and I said, do I look like a soldier to you that to tell you what happened there?
This refers to the explosion at the El Hali Arab Hospital. At first, the media rushed to blame Israel. Then the evidence came in. It was a misfired Islamic Jihad rocket. I'm not a soldier, he says. I don't know what really happened. But I will start by blaming Israel. And then I will say, I don't know what happened. You know exactly what happened. You know it was an Islamic Jihad rocket. But you don't say it because you don't want to end up like Rami Ayad. Who is Rami Ayad, you ask? A Christian in Gaza who owned a shop selling Christian religious books. His shop was burned down multiple times. He received threats from Islamic groups, and eventually he was murdered. But the Archbishop won't mention that. Just like he won't mention the takeover of the Church of the Nativity in Bethlehem in 2002, when Muslim terrorists took 50 priests and believers hostages inside the church. He doesn't say a word about that. Just imagine what would happen if a Jewish extremist entered an important church with a gun. The world would talk about that for generations. But when armed Islamists do that, Tucker and the Archbishop don't even mention it.
Tucker Carlson has been working overtime at showing the world that the Jews are to blame for every single issue in anyone's life. And his new thing is to show that the Jews are persecuting the Christians and that the land of Israel is a threat to anyone who's not Jewish. Let's stop beating around the bush. The bottom line is Tucker Carlson is a raging anti-Semite. He hates Jews, he hates Israel, and he has one goal, which is to try to take down the people that are the chosen people, that he is jealous of, the people that are responsible for bringing godliness to the world through the observance of the commandments. It absolutely perturbs him that there is a group of people that don't accept his God that are favored in any way. This is the underlying issue with Tucker Carlson. He believes that the Jews believe that they are the chosen people and that they don't accept his God. And this just drives him nuts. I'm not sure why. The guy is worth $500 million. He's married, he has children, he has reputation. I'm not sure why he's dedicating his life to fighting the Jews and trying to make the Jews in Israel look bad. But at the end of the day, it's a total waste of time. The Jews have and will continue to contribute to the world. The Jews are God's chosen people, which in plain English means that God chose the Jewish people to fulfill certain commandments, and when they do that, it shows the whole world that there's a God. That's what it means to be the chosen people. Why are the Jews the chosen people? It's not a complicated story. There was a time in history where God was looking for a group of people to fulfill a specific job. And he came to the nations of the world, and people said to him, "What do you want us to do?" And this one said, we do murder. This group said, "We do steal, so we don't want to be this group of people." Then he came to these people that were enslaved in Egypt, the Israelites. They were known as the Israelites. At that time, there were no Jews. God took them out of Egypt with all the miracles that are celebrated in the holiday of Pesach, Passover, and they went through the desert, and they came to this mount called Har Sinai, Mount Sinai, and there God gave the Torah to the Jewish people. Who are the Jewish people and what is their whole story? It's all based on the Mount Sinai event, which according to the Torah was witnessed by 2 million people between the ages of 20 and 60. So 2 million people saw all of it happen. And this witness account is essentially the foundation of the Jewish heritage. Obviously, there's much more to it, but in plain English, that's the construction of the Jewish people. Before the Mount Sinai event, there were no Jewish people. There were just people. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. All the details don't matter. The bottom line is like this. Tucker Carlson is on a hell-bent journey to prove the Jews as the reason for everything that's going on that's negative. And at the end of the day, it's the exact opposite. Without the Jews, there's no Google, there's no Facebook, there's no internet, there's no banking system, there's no entertainment system, there's no scientists, there's no doctors. If you look in any corner of the world, there are Jews who are leaders, who are inventors, who are moving these industries forward. If the Jews didn't show up to work tomorrow, there would be no world. If the Jews and everything they created wasn't in America, there would be no America. So at the end of the day, Tucker Carlson should be very thankful and very grateful to the Jewish people and just keep his mouth shut.